Welcome, Power fans. We have made it to the season 2 finale of Power Force. Long journey, but we're finally here. Got a little bit of body count, got a couple swerves, not the ones that I anticipated happening. So let's get right into it. Name of the episode was Power, Powder, Respect. And the biggest thing that jumped off, let's start at the end. Mireya is out the picture, but not dead like I predicted. She might die. She is off the board courtesy of Miguel. He's basically stashed her away. Shanti and Jannar finally sent over the pick. So now Miguel finally has something to hold over Tommy and by extension CBI's head. After all the ground he's lost over the past about, let's say, 3 or 5 episodes, lost the ground that the Serbs territory, he lost all of that. He's still the main pipeline for the Estrada cartel, but now he has to share power with Tommy and Diamond. So Tommy thought he was in there. He thought, eventually he's just going to keep pushing and pushing, and Miguel was going to fall further down the chain. But now he has complete leverage because now Tommy can't do anything without risking something happening to Mireya. So how is that going to extend for season 3? What that tells me is that for the first half of season 3, Tommy is going to be on defense. He's going to have to do everything Miguel, says. I don't think Miguel is going to outright try and do any more hits on him because, he already lost a couple people trying to go at Tommy directly. But I think he's going to force Tommy to get in perilous situations. He might send them on a dummy mission to go hit back at the Marquez cartel, whatever's left of them. Things like that, they're just going to put Tommy and CBI in more peril. Miguel's going to be able to do that because he has Mireya as the bargaining chip. Here's something else I want you to keep in mind about Mireya. Early on in the season, there was a scene with Tommy and Miguel. I think it was when they first met, where Miguel mentioned that, oh, my boy Julio out in New York, from the original Power series. So we already have a slight connection with Miguel in New York through Julio. Julio kind of knew everybody. So if you're trying to stash away Mireya, where are you going to put her? You wouldn't probably leave her in Chicago because Tommy's going to turn that city upside down looking for her. If I were Miguel, I would probably send her to New York and any connections I have out there. Now, if she ends up in New York, now we have a connection with Power Book 2, and Mireya can possibly show up on there and interact with that crew. Brings a whole new dynamic to both those shows, which I'll be up for seeing. It's possible. I think it would be welcome. I think Mireya can end up with another love triangle out there because we know that Tariq's boy, he loves women. So I can see him falling head over heels for Mireya. So something to keep in mind about where Mireya could possibly end up if she gets shipped out of Chicago. The other big development there also with Mireya would be, as far as the losses Tommy took, is his situation with Diamond. The ironic thing is Tommy is starting to treat Diamond the same way Ghost used to talk to him. And remember, Tommy hated that. He used to always say, you're not looking at me as an equal partner. We're not making decisions together. You don't look at me as an equal. He's doing the same thing with Diamond, and it's causing distrust and discord. It hasn't boiled over yet because Diamond does recognize we both got into this position by working with each other, and we need to keep doing that if we're going to move forward. But the doubts are starting to creep in more and more and more. And because Tommy has no inhibitions keeping things from him until the last minute, Diamond is also not going to have a problem hiding his big secret, which is DMAC, who we'll talk more about with later. So that whole situation, I think, is going to really blow up in season 3. I think DMAC is going to be the catalyst to forever change the relationship between Tommy and Diamond. Jannar is going to be the wild card in that because he's continuing to sow that discord and get closer and closer with his brother. So that's going to cause Diamond to have to make a gut-wrenching decision. Does he stick with his brother, who he has this new growing relationship with, or does he still stick with Tommy, who he knows probably business-wise is going to get him further along in the game, even though Tommy doesn't look at him as an equal? The other big loss for Tommy would be his family life. Mireya's out the picture now, but JP, his brother, and Kate, they want nothing more to do with him now. So really, he has no more family left that he can depend on. Now, this season, K and JP were kind of afterthoughts, we're being serious. So we're going to see the biggest ramification about that in season three is probably going to be with DMAC, because DMAC is just head on in the streets now. And if nature takes its course, we know people like that don't last long out in the streets. So when he gets taken out, how is that going to affect the relationship with JP, Tommy, and all that? It's going to degrade it even further. So that is something to keep an eye on for season three. As of right now, Tommy literally has no family. Really the only one that he can kind of somewhat trust is going to be Diamond. And little does he know that Diamond is already kind of looking at him funny based on their relationship. Let's next talk about the wins that Tommy had this episode. So chief among them is getting in that position with right under the Estrada cartel, taking over the Surge position. Taking out Claudia is probably number one. Claudia had it coming, but I got to say she was a great villain. I kind of love to hate her. So she will be missed a little bit in season three, but she really had this coming. She's been getting away with so much flagrant stuff, so many killings. And when she said to Tommy, when they had that confrontation that, I'm invincible now, you kind of already knew her days were numbered. And she had no idea that it was Shanti right there that was going to betray her. So, the three-woman power trip is already over after a couple episodes. But something to keep in mind, Claudia is off the board now. But what about the love of her life, Elise? Now, Elise is not a street person, but she has something that's just as important, which is unlimited cash flow. So she's still out there. And now that the love of her life has been killed, I'm sure she's going to want revenge. So I'm really interested to see where she ends up in season three, because, a lot of people can use that money that she has. The servers are gone. But as far as we know, the Marquez cartel might not be completely off the table. Some of them, of course, got roped up in that sting operation that Tommy set up. But if any of them are still out there, maybe they link with Elise, because Elise has all the money, to potentially back them. And, maybe Elise finds out that Jannard and Shanti were the ones that or Shanti more so is the ones that betrayed, Claudia. Maybe she wants revenge some type of way. Maybe she goes to Miguel and tells him the information that she knows. Maybe she even goes to Tommy and tells him that, Shanti is not who you think she is. Some type of way that whole situation is going to blow up in Shanti's face, because she was really particular about saying that there's no way this can be traced back to us, right? So by her saying that, they did something wrong that can lead back to them at some point. So that's going to complicate things in season three. Because, Shanti's another one that has a very big ego. And she said throughout the season to different people that, I know what I'm doing. No one is as smart as me. So when characters talk like that, they eventually get got. But hopefully that doesn't happen until late in season three, because I think Shanti's a good character. I think she needs to stick around. I like how she stirs the pot on so many different ends, and she's in the organization now, so she can really cause a lot of discord, because Tommy's not going to be in his right mind. He's just going to be focused so much on revenge. We'll be able to see where that goes. Now, Vic was another one I thought might be out of here, but he's hanging on, as incredulous as that is, as far as him staying in the picture. But Tommy was about to kill him, but he had the one big ace card, which is finally confirming for Tommy that Claudia was the one that killed Liliana. And I guess that was enough for Tommy to say, okay, you're still useful. I'm going to try and keep you around as a mole. Diamond recognizes that that's completely ridiculous, and that's putting our whole cartel connect in danger, knowing that we have a snitch amongst our ranks. So where is Vic going to go from here? Our last image of him was Tommy's boys walking up to him. Obviously, he's not going to be dead next season, at least in those early episodes. So I'm thinking some type of way he probably kills both those guys and gets out of there. And now he's kind of roaming. He's still going to be under the thumb of probably the police and attorney Stacey Marks. But what if he runs to? He can't run to the Estrada cartel, obviously, but maybe he hooks up with Elise. They both kind of have an axe to grind now. Elise has all the money. Vic knows he really has nowhere to go now. I don't really see him wanting to completely work with the feds anymore, because he knows that that never ends. He's going to be completely just in a cycle of being under their thumb. Even though he can't rat on the Estrada cartel anymore, there's no way out unless he gets a good cash flow, which Elise has. So maybe they hook up some type of way and he gets back in the business at least in the short term for the first half of season 3. But I'm really not sure what they're going to do with him. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see where that goes. Because it would be really unrealistic for him to kind of get back in CBI with Tommy knowing that or Tommy and Diamond knowing that he's a snitch. So I'm not really sure where Vic is going to go for season 3, but I wouldn't be sad if he gets killed early on in the season. I kind of had enough with the Flynns. I feel like we need a clean break at this time, maybe get some new characters in besides them, but we'll see where that goes. I guess we can finally end with D-Mac. D-Mac is, crash dummy number 1, kind of the worst that we've seen in a while. He's calling Kate, his grandmother, out of her name, curses out his father, says, the streets are my family. That body has really got him feeling himself. Well, 2 bodies now. He feels he's invincible. So now he's going to go out in the streets and make things worse, because now he's feeling that power. He feels no one can touch him. Little does he know he's really a dead man walking, because Jannard had that conversation with King Kilo, let him know that, we know that he took down your relative, Mad Dog, and as soon as you get out of prison, we're going to serve up D-Mac to you. So that's going to be very interesting. There can be a situation where Tommy jumps in at the last minute, kills King Kilo, and saves D-Mac, and that's going to cause a renewed war with the RDs. So many different ways that they can go with that. I think the realistic thing, though, is that, D-Mac is going to have to die at some point. He's just out here too reckless. And I'm interested to see if there's going to be a further development between the relationship with him and Diamond, of all people, because Diamond feels so bad that he couldn't save Leon. And I think the more that D-Mac hangs around, because he already gave him a pass, when D-Mac told him about the Mad Dog killing, maybe he starts to look at it as, okay, this is another young kid that's worse off that maybe I can save. Maybe he starts looking at D-Mac like that. Hard to say, but I think that's kind of the only way that D-Mac stays alive for at least a couple episodes into season 3. But he's just needs some sense slapped into him. And if anybody can do it, it can be Diamond, because Diamond is someone that he looks up to and someone that he can respect. And Diamond will be the first one to tell him that you're on the road to nowhere. If you're going to be in these streets, you're going to have to be smart. You just can't be out here reckless like that. So we'll see how Diamond kind of cultivates D-Mac. I think that's going to be a storyline in season 3, and then it's going to cause that conflict when Kilo comes home and wants to finally cash in on the agreement that they had. Will they give up D-Mac? And would they be willing to kill King Kilo and restart the RD war? So that's going to be a subplot I think we get in season 3. So overall, not a big, not a high body count. The only main character we got out of here was really Claudia, but that was still big, because she got everything that she wanted, and then she ends up getting shanked in prison because she had just screwed over too many people. So got what she deserves. I don't think they're going to cause a swerve with her surviving that stabbing. That has happened before. If you remember, what's his name? I think it was Milan from the original Power. He got shanked in prison, and he was laying there, holding his stomach and all that, and he ended up surviving. It is possible that they do something like that with Claudia, but I think it would be really, really cheap. You saw her get stabbed up like that. We hear her bleeding out and dying on the phone. They need to leave it like that. First scene of next season should be her on the slab or something. If you need to show her again, I'd be really upset if they kind of show her coming back. That should be it for Claudia, and we can move on to Elise and any other characters that they may decide to bring over from Ireland. But I think Elise is the only kind of loose end with that storyline. Her and Vic, because she has all that cash flow that can jumpstart him again if need be. So that's my recap of this season finale of Power Force season 2. Let me know what you guys think. Did you enjoy it? Was there anyone else that you wanted to see die? Are you excited about this Miguel and Tommy storyline really kicking into high gear in season 3? And really let me know what you think also about my idea about Mireya possibly showing up in Power Book 2. Would that be something that you're interested in? We shall see. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. I will be covering book 3, Raising Canaan. We have the season 3 debut, which will be next month. So I've got the first couple episodes, so I can't wait to recap those with you. Very exciting stuff in the Power universe. So I will be talking to you guys in a few weeks. And if you missed any of the episodes this season, you can go back. I've recapped every single one, and we'll love to hear your feedback. See you with Raising Canaan in a few weeks. Take care and enjoy your weekend.